here's my point. When you go back into the wilderness, so here we are. The widow's on the scene. She's so interesting, this woman. So he arose and he went to Zarephath, and when he came to the gate of the city, indeed, a widow was there. She was there gathering sticks, and he called her and said, "Please bring me a little water in a cup that I may drink." That was his first request. Just give me a little bit of water. And as she was going to get it, so she's turned her back, she's going to get the water. Oh, by the way, he called to her and said, "Please bring me a morsel of bread in your hand." That was his second request. Now, she was going willingly to get the water for him. Yes. Obviously, that wasn't an issue for her. But when he asked for the bread, when he asked for her food, she said, "As the Lord your God, as the Lord your God, my God, as the Lord your God lives, I do not have bread, only a handful of flour in a bin and a little oil in a jar. And listen, I'm gathering a couple of sticks, as you see, that I may go in and prepare for myself and my son, that we may eat it and die." So she was in a state of suicide. She's like, "We don't have anything else. I don't have any hope. And you're asking me as your God lives, because I don't know the God that you serve. So you're asking me to do something that I have no clue about what you do or how it works for you. All I know is that I had a little water that I could share with you, but I don't have enough bread because I've got to give to my son and myself. And by the way, we are out of here. We're done. There is no hope for us. We are going to die." And I want you to keep in mind this point, that we don't know where our blessings will come from. We have no clue. We think that we can foresee some things. We think that we can understand how God's going to work, but we don't. We just don't know. We think we do, and we try to figure it out, but we do not. We have no clue. He went on to say, "For thus says the Lord God of Israel, the bin of flour shall not be used up, nor shall the jar of oil run dry until the day the Lord sends rain on the earth," which was 3 years. So he's telling her, basically giving her hope. Listen, you're going to be taken care of. He's going to supply your need. That little bit of stuff that you have, just do what I asked you to do, and it will be multiplied to the maximum of what you could ever think. So she went away, and she did according to the word of Elijah, and she and her household ate for many days. The bin of flour was not used up, verse 16, nor did the jar of oil run dry, according to the word of the Lord, which he spoke by Elijah. So let's go to, I'm gonna go all the way down where her son, he got sick. And obviously he was a little child because Elijah carried him. But she said in verse 18, "What have I to do with you, O man of God? Have you come to me to bring my sin to my remembrance and kill my son?" Because the little boy had gotten sick. And so he just said, "Give me your son." So he took the boy, took him up to the upper room, laid on him 3 times, told the Lord to bring his soul back into his body. And then he did. We jump ahead to, now this really just threw me. He says, "See, your son lives." Now she says in verse 24, "Now by this, I know that you are a man of God, and that the word of the Lord in your mouth is truth." Now, he had just shown her a miraculous miracle of providing for her. She's in a suicidal state, and he's providing food for her for 3 years. I mean, you got your little tiny flour and water and whatever oil that you have, and all of a sudden you can eat for the next 3 years. And yet that's not miracle enough for you to recognize God's ability. She didn't say that in the very beginning. She didn't say that at all. It was just like, "Oh, well, let me just take this for granted. Yeah, you did this. I gave you my last, and here I'm giving you this." So it worked out great for both of us. It's amazing to me that it took this second miracle for her to actually believe that he was, I think she believed he was a man of God, but just actually to believe in God. He's like, "Now by this, I know that you are a man of God," like he had to have the second one, "and that the word of the Lord in your mouth is truth." But previously, she called him a man of God. But after she didn't give any indication after he did the miracle of the flour. She didn't give any indication to him like, oh, wow. I mean, you're eating for 3 years off of a tiny little bit of flour that's just continually growing in your pot, and your oil is continually being replenished like a fountain of youth. And you just have no recognition at all. None. And here's the key. Remember, in the very beginning, she was suicidal. So she was ready for her son and her to die. That was her decision. She's like, yeah, we're going to die. We have no hope, no nothing. So then he comes along, and here's the point. He comes along and he provides for her, and then she's living. They're doing great. I'm assuming within this time frame that the son gets sick. Now the son is going to die. She was willing for him to die in the very beginning. She was going to kill him, actually. It was her doing. It wasn't his choice. She was doing it. True. Now all of a sudden he gets sick and he's going to die. And then she blames it on him. What? Did you come here to kill my son? It's like, no, I came to save your son because you were going to kill your son. So, I mean, she asked him, have you come to me to bring my sin to remembrance and to kill my son? So are you coming to me to convict me, to bring forth all that I know that I've done, and then also kill my son? And so he was like, basically, give me your son. He didn't even respond to her foolishness. He just said, give me your son. That says a whole lot right there. It's like, you don't have to respond to all that. All that negativity, blame. Oh, it's my fault now that your son is sick. It's my fault. I'm the one who saved your son. I'm the one who fed you all for however long. You were going to kill your son. So he's like, give me the son. And then all of a sudden now it's like, well, oh, you are a man of God because you saved my son. No, I saved your son the first time when you were going to kill your son. This shows so many points on how screwed up our minds can be, and how we're so quick to cast blame on someone else and not take responsibility for our own actions. And also how we cannot see the goodness of God in all things. We have to wait for it to be something that is close to home. Now, remember, her first incident, she was hopeless, down and out, and he did save them. So she's not in that state of mind anymore. But now that her son is, after, how we come out of, we get rescued and then we get so comfortable in ourselves. And then all of a sudden something else happens. And then as if nothing else has happened before. This is the state of mind that she's in. She's like, oh, you forgot that I saved your son and you the first time. Now you're going through another crisis, and wow, you're blaming me for it. You're saying that it's my fault. And then, wait, we already had a miracle. So can't you just believe for another miracle and just give God the glory? No, we can't do that. We always go back to, let's forget the first thing. Oh, that's why I believe God says to put him in remembrance, because it's not really for his sake. When he says, put me in remembrance, he's saying to you, you remind me of what I've done for you. But in your reminding me, it's really reminding you, because you have to remember it in order to tell it to me. You can't remind God of something if you don't remember it. So the goal is that I need you to remember it first, because I did it for you. And this is the problem that I think that we have. And this is so prevalent as we go on in this chapter. In verse 18, now it came to pass after many days that the word of the Lord came to Elijah in the 3rd year. So we're at the 3rd year now, he's saying, okay, you've been in hiding. Yeah, I sent you, provided for you, Elijah. I sent you to the widow woman. And so in going to the widow woman, all that's taken care of, and you did what you need to do. Here's your new assignment. Now I need you to get up. Prepare yourself to be presented to Ahab. I'm going to send rain on the earth. Okay. So without going into all of everything, during that time there was a famine, because if you don't have rain for 3 years, you're not going to have food. Or they weren't growing stuff inside their house. So, obviously they were, because it says in verse 2, I want Elijah to present himself to Ahab, and there was a severe famine in Samaria. So we know that. And then if you go down, Verse 4, Jezebel had massacred the prophets of the Lord. And then she had killed so many prophets. But Obadiah, he was another man of God. He had taken, I think, 100 and something, 150 prophets, and he hid them in a cave. But Elijah is not aware of this. Elijah really thinks that he's the only one left. So, and then Elijah went to Obadiah, and he said, to tell him to go present himself to the king. He said, go tell the king that I'm here, basically. The point that I want to make here is that Elijah thought, you can look in verse 22, he said to the people, I alone am left, a prophet of the Lord. So here he is stating that, hey, by the way, I'm the only prophet that's left here, not knowing that there have been other prophets. Sometimes we always think that we're the only ones doing whatever is being done, and that God has no other control other than to just have me, lone old me over here, just doing the whole work of God, which wasn't the case at all. But, we all know the story of, Elijah and how, he went to the people and all their prophets, he mocked them and, just showed himself strong for the Lord. I'm not getting into all of that because that's not my point. That's not the point that I want to make. I want you to go back over to this. After Elijah had done all of the greatness with the prophets, and God showed up for him, burnt everything that was on the altar, he called down fire from heaven. God showed up. He showed himself strong. After all of that, the Lord sent the rain, and the rain did come. But after all those miracles, this is my point. Chapter 19, verse 1, and Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done. He had executed all of their prophets. He had executed them all. All of those false prophets, he killed them all. So Ahab went and told Jezebel. Now, why would the king be going back and telling Jezebel this? Okay. I just look at Ahab. He was just like a wuss, just so weak. But anyway, he went and he told Jezebel all that Elijah had done. And here's what Jezebel said. Jezebel sent a messenger to Elijah saying, so let the gods do to me and more also. So she's prophesying her own death. If I do not make your life as the life of one of them by tomorrow about this time. And when Elijah saw that, verse 3, he arose and ran for his life. Now, this wasn't a moment where God said, Elijah, get up and go out into the wilderness and hide. He said, he got up and ran for his life. Now, and he went to Beersheba, which belongs to Judah, and left his servant there. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness and came back and sat down under a broom tree, and he prayed that he might die. Now, Elijah is suicidal. It's enough. I've had enough. Now, Lord, take my life, for I am no better than my father's. Here's my point. When you go back into the wilderness,